everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess and I love doing DIY, making clothes in a simply but pretty way. I'm not a tailor and I never attended to any fashion school before, so when it comes to sewing, I always try to find a simple way to make it. That's why you could see that some of my techniques may be not really correct or in a professional ways, but they work for me and I just want to share with you guys how I make it. In today's video, we're going to make a high-waisted wireless pants with two folds at the front and side pockets. The most difficult part of this tutorial, I could say, is the zipper area. So if you're a beginner or you're not really confident with this technique, you could replace this by installing an invisible zipper at the back of the pants. And let's get started. I use 3 meters of khaki silk fabric for this DIY. The first step is making the patterns. To make the front pattern, I cut a rectangle with 29 cm width, which is a quarter of my hip size plus 6 cm, and 96 cm length, which is the length from my belly button to over my ankle. It's the length of the pants that I want. From one width line, I mark down on to length line 28 cm, which is the length from the belly button to over the crotch. Then drawing a new line between two marks. From this new line, I draw another line at 7 cm next to it and close to the first width line. 7 cm is the width from the end of the crotch pant to the biggest part of your butt. I add 3 cm extra on the first line, then connect one end of this line at the extra to one end of the second line, so I can draw a curved line later, and it will be the crotch line of the front pants. At the other end of the top width line, which is the waistline of the front pants, I move in 2 cm, then connecting to the end of the second line on the length line. It will be the side line of the front pants. At the front pants will be a bit lower. I move down the waistline 1 cm at the crotch line, then drawing a slightly curved line to finish the waistline of the front pants. After that, I draw a new inside line of the leg from the end of the crotch line and add the seam allowance to finish the pattern. Remember to add 1 cm for most of the drawing, except the end of the leg will be 4 cm. After cutting, you will have the pattern of the front pants. To make the pattern for the back pants, I cut the same rectangle with 29 cm width and 96 cm length. I also drew 2 new straight lines similar to the front pants. However, I add 9.2 cm at one end of the first straight line, which is 1/10 my hip size, then drawing the crotch line after that. As the back band will be a bit higher than the front, I add 2 cm extra at the crotch line, then drawing a slightly curved line to the other end of the width line to finish the waistline for the back band. After that, I draw a new inside line of the leg from the end of the crotch line and add seam allowance to finish the and you will have the pattern for the back pants after cutting. To make the pocket pattern, I cut a rectangle with 25 cm length and 30 cm width. I folded the rectangle in half by the width line first. Then I use the front pattern to apply at the side line to one edge of the folding rectangle. After that, I cut along the drawing lines. Because I want to have the pockets on the front pattern, I cut a bit of the front to create the area for the pocket there later. And it is 3 cm inside the waistline and 15 cm along the side line, which is the width of the open area of the pocket that you can put your hand through. After cutting on the front pattern, I apply it to the pocket pattern and draw at the pocket area. And you will have the pocket pattern after cutting. Apply on the pattern to the fabric and draw along. You will need 2 pieces for the front pattern, 2 pieces for the back pattern, and 2 pieces for the pocket pattern. After cutting, I connect 2 pieces of the front and 2 pieces of the back together at the cross line. But we will have the zipper at the front of the pants, so I measure the length of the zipper at the front first, and it's around 18 cm from the top of the waistline, then sewing the rest of the cross line together later. Measure the width of one piece of the front pants to see that it's bigger than a quarter of my waist size 9 cm. So I will create 2 folding fabric at the middle of the waistline to make it shorter and will be 18 cm, which is a quarter of my waist size plus 2 cm for seam allowance. Doing the same for the other piece of the front pants. After that, I connect the front pants to the pockets at the top of the side line. Remember, the length of this connecting part will be 16 cm, which is the width of the open area of the pocket plus 1 cm for seam allowance. After sewing, I connect the rest of the pocket to the front pants at the waistline and the side line. Don't forget to connect the end of the pocket together as well. To make the zipper area, I cut 2 rectangles. The first rectangle is 8 cm width and 20 cm length. The second one is 5 cm width and 20 cm long. I fold the big rectangle in half on the width line first, then overlocking the edge fabric of them later. After that, I connect the smaller rectangle to the right of the front pants at the cross line. After the first seam, I make another seam to fix on the fabric to one side. I add one side of the zipper to the big folding rectangle first. Then I connect it to the other side of the cross line later. Now I close the zipper to know where I should connect it to the other side of the cross line, and sewing to keep them on together after that. The last step to finish the zipper is making the seam to connect the front pins to the smaller rectangle, and we finish the front pins. Moving to the back pins, I'm making 2 dots at one side to make the waistline of the back fit to my waist size. The length of the dot will be around 13 or 15 centimeters. It's the length from the belly button to the biggest part of your purse. Whatever you do, just make sure the final width of the waistline has to be a half of your waist size plus 2 centimeters for seam allowance. Now I'm connecting the front and the back of the pants together at the side lines and the inside leg lines. To make the belt loop, I cut a rectangle with 4 cm width and around 35 cm length. I fold 2 length lines inside around 1 cm, then fold it again to create the belt loop. After sewing, I cut it into 5 pieces with 7 cm each one. To make the waistband for the pants, I cut a rectangle with 10 cm width, which is 2 times the width of the waistband I want plus 2 cm for seam allowance, and 68 cm length, which is my waist size plus 4 cm for seam allowance. I use the interfacing fabric to make the waistband thicker. When connecting the waistband to the waistline of the pants, remember to have an extra 2 cm at each side of the waistline. After the first seam, I fold the other side of the waistband inside 1 cm first, then keep folding it over the first seam. Before sewing, don't forget to add one end of the belt loop to the waistband, and fix the other end of the belt loop to the top of the waistband after that. The last step is finishing the end of the pants. I draw a line 8 cm above the ending line. Then fold the end fabric to that line and sewing. And I finished this DIY. Here's my final result. It's a pretty complicated DIY, but the result is worth it. So I hope you will try it out. See you next week.